Chiquis, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I am so excited, and I'm so excited that this book found me now.
I love that.
I still have both my parents, but my dad was a US senator. He just
Mm.
started an 11-year prison sentence. So this idea of
Oh my
having a
goodness.
parent that
Yeah.
you cannot speak to as frequently as you might be accustomed to is very raw for me right now.
Oh.
And so I love this idea of a
Oh.
conversation that never ends. And I wonder how soon after you lost your mom you began speaking with her.
Oh. Wow, it's gonna be 13 years. I'm so sorry about your dad, by the way. I
Thanks.
hope, I my dad was in jail. Anyway, so I
I know you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So the first 2 years after my mom passed were very difficult. I was very upset with her. I was angry at the world. 2013, 2014. I think I started speaking to her a little bit more just recently,
Mm,
barely. I can honestly say that I feel like I forgave my mom fully for everything and stopped blaming her for everything a couple months ago, really. And I'm a very honest person. I would speak to her. I had like phases of like, okay, I'm good with mom. But I was so focused on my career, focused on my siblings, focused on just surviving
sure.
that I was I spent too much time upset, until really I started now I'm just so in love with her. Now I'm like, wow. And I think this book has helped me heal it. When I finally had it in my hands, it's one thing writing it
Mhm.
and seeing everything because you're just like business mode, right? But when it's in your hands and I started reading it, I cried. I'm like, oh my goodness. It just made me feel more connected to her. And it helped, I think, in some way heal my relationship with her as well. But it took a while. It did.
I love that answer because I think that answer is very honest, where I
Mhm.
think sometimes people feel that forgiveness is supposed to be an overnight thing, or you
It's
go
not
to therapy
linear.
once, you go and talk to
Yeah.
your priest once, and then it's done.
It's a
What did it
process.
it is a process. What did that process actually require for you? And was there something that changed in what you say
Mhm.
was that last few months where all of a sudden you fell back in love with her?
Yeah, a lot of therapy for
Mhm.
sure. But throughout the years, I think, again, I was so focused on helping my siblings, the younger ones, especially Johnny and Jenica, help them survive. They're my little heroes because for them, I was like, okay, this is what mom left me. This is what I have to do. I was so focused on them for so long that I didn't really realize that I had to focus on my own healing, like
Yeah.
really deep down inside. It wasn't until Johnny moved out, my brother who's 24, he moved out last year in February, that I think that's where it started, where I was like, okay, when he moved out, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is all I've ever known is to take care of other people. And now he's gone, he's all grown up. And so I think it started there. And then I did some medicine, some indigenous medicine. And that kind of started in April of last year. And then in March, I did more. And it's really digging deep into the things, into your childhood and really healing that inner child. And I think because of how I grew up, I wasn't able to really be a child. I always had to be responsible. I went through so much that now I'm allowing myself to really just explore the world and have an imagination. And I think being loved the right way as well also helps that. And I think I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and I started looking inward. So I think it was a series of things. It's just a long process, but I think it was when I was able to just see my mom for her also as the little girl having a child. She was 15 when she had me.
Yeah.
So I've learned to have more compassion for her.
Do you hit a point with talk therapy where you're like, I am talked out and
Mhm.
talking is not gonna get me where I wanna go. It is time to try something alternative?
Yes. And I think that's so awesome because I haven't said that because I'm a huge advocate for talking
Sure.
for talking for therapy, and I did it for so long. I started therapy when I was 12 and on and off, of course. Then I started doing life coaching, and life coaching was
I
great.
love life coaching.
Life coaching because I want give me tools. Like
Yes.
I can only
Mhm.
do a lot of just talking and you listening. Give me some solutions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it was great how I did it, therapy, and I did a lot of that. I needed that, and then I did life coaching, and then I did more self searching, where it was like, okay, I have the power within myself, connected to God. I'm a woman of faith, and it was like I got this. Like my biggest and most important life coach and therapist is God, And I just started looking inward. There's a little bit of God in all of us. That's what I really truly believe. So yeah, for sure. I was like, I need to something tangible, something that I can actions that I can do to feel better, to because life is life, It'd be life in.
It was interesting to me in thinking about The Girl Who Sings to Bees. I went back and I reread Forgiveness, and
Mhm.
in it you talk about being bullied because your mom had these big dreams that people are like, Jenny Rivera's never gonna be Jenny Rivera. Like you all like she's delusional and
Mhm.
you by extension have become delusional.
Oh,
The
yes.
bullying here in this new book is really about you
Mhm.
and this idea that you can never have her talent
Right.
and you will never be Jenny Rivera, which is
Those are the things that I was told for sure. I mean, I think the bullying when I first recognized it started in the 5th grade, and I think that I spoke about it. You took me back to that. In Forgiveness, where I was my mom's number 1 fan, and I would carry her, and no one knew who she was, and I had her on my folder. I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" I'm like, "That's my mom. She's gonna be so famous one day." And they would laugh, and they're like, "Oh, please, like, girl, like, you live in Long Beach. How is that gonna happen?" And yeah, I mean, I cyberbullying is real, and I encountered that especially when I started my singing career. Like, oh, she's hanging off her mom's coattail, and she'll never fill her shoes. And I'm like, I'm just trying. Like, I don't want to be my mom. It was crazy.
that's what it made me think of, which is kids are cruel.
Hmm.
But when you are a public person, you experience a level of public scrutiny and cruelty that is
Yeah.
middle school on
Oh
steroids.
my gosh. Yeah. It's insane. I don't it still does I still don't understand how people can be so mean. Like, why? What do you get out of it? But then I realized through all of my healing process that it doesn't really have to do with me. It has to do with the other person. It's like you must not feel good about yourself because a person that doesn't have time or the energy to sit there and talk bad and say all these things. Like there's just no way, you know what I mean? But to do it like it's a lot. Like I've been called everything under the sun, everything. Now I can laugh about it. I mean, just the other day, not actually yesterday, I hadn't really read any comments, and I read some on a post on TikTok. TikTok can be kind of mean, and I was like, "Whoa! I thought everyone loved me," and I started laughing because I was like, "Oh, I hadn't read such negative comments in so long," and I'm like, "You know what? It is part of the game. Cool, but this is why I want to write a book like this and talk about bullying because it does start with the children. These are the seeds that we need to plant in children so that this hopefully stops because it's crazy."
Can you tell me about the most recent conversation you had with your mom?
It was a pretty intense conversation. I don't know if it was me, the fear of turning 40 for so many reasons. I think because being in the industry as a female and being a Latina and being a singer, it's like, oh, you're 40, your time is up, girl. So it's like you always have that in the back of your mind. So anyway, I dreamt her and she came into my dream and I was in my glam room and she comes in and she looked a little flustered. She has a very, very strong presence, my mother. And I was like, I looked at her, I'm like, oh, I did something wrong. Something's going on. And I just asked her, I said, "Mom, are you okay? Like, what happened?" And she's like, "I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh gosh, here we go." And I remember I had the hanger in my hand and I had the shirt and I'm like, "Okay." And I remember bringing it to my chest. I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" And she said, "I just want to tell you that look, I don't know how to say this, but you're not going to make it to 40. Mija, you're just not going to make it. And it's going to be pretty ugly and it's gonna be painful." And I'm like, I started gasping for air and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what are you talking about?" Like, I'm like, Stop." I'm like, I have so much to live. Like, I don't have a baby yet. Like, I wanna do things." And she's like, "It's okay." And she hugged me. She's like, "It's gonna be fine, but you're not gonna make it." And that's basically the gist of the dream. But then when I woke up, I remember literally I was like, I woke up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, thank God it's not real." But I think as I was going through some things, it was kind of God showing me perhaps or my mom like life is beautiful. There's a lot to be grateful for.
Pay attention.
Exactly. And I was a little scared because I was on my way. I was going on a plane, so I thought, "Okay, is something going to happen? Am I going to make it to 40?" I'm not going to lie, that stuff crossed my mind, but I'm like, "Okay, no, faith." That's where faith kicks in. But yeah, that was the last conversation. Now I'm like, "Okay, come into my dream again. I wanna see you, but say something nice, girl." Say something real nice because I need that right now, but it's always been the 3 times that I've seen her and I've talked to her in my dreams, it's been business. It's very her. She's busy, she's doing things, and before I would get really sad. Like, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I miss her so much. Like, what the heck?" And I think maybe that's why she stayed away for so long, but That happened just like a month ago, I think.
All right, let's talk about the baby you just casually
Yes.
referenced,
Yeah.
because I have wondered for you, as someone who I could argue spent some of your life mothering your own mother,
Mhm.
then spends part of your life mothering all of your siblings, a good
Yeah.
portion of your life.
Uh-huh.
How did that shape the way that you think about motherhood?
I didn't wanna be a mom for a long time.
I bet.
Um, because I have spent all my life taking care of other people, and I'm getting emotional. Um, and I just feel like I finally have gotten to a point where I can just worry about myself. So for a long time, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I had a miscarriage, and that was heavy. And I'm like, "Okay, what does this mean? What am I supposed to do?" Right now, I'm in a place where, okay, I'm 40. I have some reproductive situations,
Mm.
but I have a lot of faith that if it happened last year on itself by itself, on its own, it could happen again, you know? And I did IVF and I have my eggs frozen and we're good there. And I'm happy that we're able to do that. You know, I think that that's amazing. Science is beautiful, you know? But I do want to try naturally. If it's meant to be, then I hope that it happens naturally. But for a long time I didn't want to. But now that I'm married and I have a great husband and a great man, I want to do it for him. But I also want to make sure I want it, you know, because
Yes.
here it's a huge responsibility, you
I don't think
know?
anybody understands more than you what a huge responsibility it is.
Yeah. And I try to explain it to him because, you know, he's an only child and he wants a child and I love him so much and he'd be an amazing dad. Like I feel like you to bring a child into the world, like I think you it's important to really think about like the father who you're going to have a kid with, you know, because anything can happen. Um, and that's the reason why I think about it more and more. And I see babies and I love kids. I love them so much. And I'm so good at taking care of other people's kids.
Mhm.
So I've thought
Indeed.
about adopting as well. But I don't know. I'm just right now I want it more than I ever have. I'll tell you that much. For a long time I was like, no. When I met him, I'm like, I don't want to have kids. I don't ever want to get married again. And I got married. And now I'm I'm thinking about having a kid. Whatever the Lord wants.
Thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for sharing that.
yeah, of course. Oh, sorry.
The
I'm good, right?
tiniest tissue. No, you're
Okay.
perfect. You like a perfect, beautiful crier.
Okay, I'm all
No, exactly. You just like sucked it back in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you. You've talked a lot about forgiveness. I mean, famously wrote an entire book called
Mhm.
Forgiveness. But both in the context of having the experience of being sexually abused by your own father, testifying against him when he goes to prison, later visiting him in prison,
Yeah.
with your mother sort of having these accusations leveled against you right before she dies, not having a
Mhm.
chance to reconcile and having to grapple with all of that. You've spoken so much about what it has taken you to get to the point of forgiveness. I almost want to flip it on its head and ask what it has required of you to get to the point where you can trust other people
Mm.
or open yourself up to other people.
Mhm. You know, I really believe that people can change. I do believe that there are good people in the world. I think it has to do again with my faith. And I can either choose to see the negative in everything or pull something positive. And I know that sounds very cliche and like, you know, but it's the truth. That's how I live my life. I'm like, there has to be something good that's gonna come out of the situation. And there's always something to learn. So I think throughout my life, everything that has happened, I have learned something very valuable and I've grown from it. So I think just knowing that has helped me just trust life, trust God, trust people again. And I'm glad I did because I gave myself a chance at love. That's one thing that I was like, oh, you could be that girl once you get your heart broken 1 time, 2 times, 3 times to say all men are the same. I'm never going to find someone that's gonna love me the way I deserve. But I think that also has to do with us loving ourselves. That's a whole other you know, subject, but I think it's that. It's just the faith in that knowing that there's always something and everything does happen for a reason. There's always something good that comes out of a situation.
I want to take us back to sort of a period of time that relates to all of this in terms of your achieving financial independence, which is
Mhm.
right before your mother dies, she writes you out of her will, and that you realize you're gonna have to, like, make it on your own,
Yeah.
which I think would be scarier to a different person who had some privilege because you have a period in your life where you don't have much, right?
Right.
So it's like, are you going back? Are you going forward? It's hard to know.
Mhm.
Can you talk us through the steps you took to begin to secure yourself financially? And then from
Mhm.
there to sort of even begin to imagine something more prosperous for yourself?
Yeah, you know, when that happened, oh my gosh, that was 2012 was so tough. I moved out of my mom's house in March. She asked me to move out. And I think that's without her even knowing, she was already preparing me for what was to come, you know?
Mm,
So I moved out in March and basically took the rug from underneath my feet. And I was like, well, wait, all I've done is dedicate myself to you and to my siblings. And well, now what am I going to do? The good thing is I had already started my career in
mhm,
2010 with Chiquis and Roxy, the reality shows,
yep,
and I had some money saved up. So when that happened, I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to take this money. I have to make this money work for me. So that's when I opened up Blow Me Dry.
okay.
And that was my, I love beauty. I love all the beauty industry. So that it was so beautiful. And I was like, oh, this is really going to work. So I opened that up in July. And then my mom and I had our falling out in October, so I was an emotional wreck. But I had that and I kept it open for 4 years because it was my ego. It's like, I have to
Sure.
keep this open, like, and my mom was proud of me and I'm gonna make this work. But then through that, it's like I was taking care of my siblings and I was written out. So that money that I got from the reality shows from then Chiquis in Control, that helped me out a lot. It really did, it sustained me, for a bit, and then I'm like, "Okay, I know because I learned from my mom, I need to start some type of business," and that's when I also started my skincare line. So I'm like, "Okay, I need to use the image, whether I'm infamous," because at that time I was very infamous, and I said, "Okay, I gotta use this for good in some way. There has to be at least 5 people that like me that are gonna buy my skincare." And I swear I did it out of faith, and thank goodness I found someone that believed in me and in my vision, and she's still my business partner till this day.
I am obsessed with this idea of how people who become famous or have some level of notoriety often choose to live in a past version of their story. And
Mm.
there are many versions of your story, right? There is like the little girl in bed with her mom watching the car being stolen out
Oh,
the
yeah.
window. There is you walking into the mansion and like all of a sudden realizing you have means in a way that you never have
Mhm.
before and your life is about to change. There is the you that has been villainized and victimized, and there's the you as I see you now, which is successful entrepreneur, talent, star. You get to choose which version of that story you
Mhm.
live in. And something that I am impressed and inspired by for you is you seem to live in the story of like whatever is happening now.
Yeah.
You don't seem to be living in an old story.
Mm-mm.
And that takes work. Like how did you do this?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you because I again, I mean, whatever. She's my mother and I learned so much from her. But my mom, when this whole thing happened, when I was sexually abused and she found out, she said something very important to me. She says, this happened to you, but this doesn't define who you are and who you're going to become. This is just
Mm,
a part of your story." And I remember I was terrified. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, the whole world is gonna know what happened to me. I have to talk about it." And then she's like, "But you can help people through this." So that stayed with me where I'm like, "Okay, everything that happened is just a bad moment. Doesn't mean that it's a bad life. You know, this happens to me. How can I use this and turn this into helping other people?" And I think that's why I'm able to just say, "Okay, I need to be more present." And sometimes I even forget right now, like you're talking and you're telling me, and thank you, you did all your research and I love it. Thank you so much. So I'm like, wow, I think I am very like ultra focused and it could be a good thing and sometimes not so good.
mhm.
But I think that's also helped me with my healing where I'm like, I am focused in the now. And then someone tells me, "You've been through this." I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I have. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if it's therapy. It might be therapy. I read a lot of books, a lot of self-help books. I love them. And I like to feed my soul on a daily basis with something good and positive. And I think that's helps me because I don't want to just be known as the girl that was sexually abused or the girl that her mother disinherited. I'm like, okay, how can I do something great or greater then?
I loved seeing you speak out recently about what we are watching all across this country
Yeah.
with immigration raids. You say you don't recognize this country. What is it that
Mhm.
has surprised you most?
I think the hate that I mean, I know that there's always been, like, an underlining, unspoken, like, oh, racism and, but I think the administration that we have right now
Mhm.
really highlights that and really just people feel more confident to say, "I'm gonna" like, I've seen it, I've experienced racism myself, and it's always been when he's in office, and I'm not gonna lie, I'll be completely 100% honest. I was because I love business, when he wasn't involved in politics, I thought he was a great businessman, I really did. Then we started finding things out, but now I'm like, I can't say that I am proud of our country right now, and I really say that, and it makes me sad because I see a lot of people throwing hatred. There's so much hatred, and the way that things are being handled is very, very inhumane, and I stand on that, and I don't think that that's the right way to do things, you know?
Why do you think we have not heard more Latinos with your platform speak out in the same
I
way?
don't know, and it makes me very sad.
Yeah.
I just posted a video the other day, and I was angry, and this morning I posted another one where I'm like, "Okay, I need to change my tone because I know that I need to be light, I wanna show love," but it does upset me, and I do stand by that, where it's like, you have to use your platform in the right way. Like, it's like, I can't and this is just my personal opinion, like, if you're not showing me and using your platform in the correct ways to send love, to in some way show that you're supporting and humanity, then it's like, I cannot and I'm not gonna be able to, like, support anything, like, I just can't, like, I'm like, I we're just not on the same page, and that's just my personal opinion, but I just saw Coldplay do it. It's Coldplay, and they're talking about it, and the shirt that he was wearing, I'm just like, wow, and it's not just about Latinos, it's about freaking humanity, like, this is
Yes.
crazy what's happening, and this is just the beginning, which is what scares me, and it's not that I'm not proud to be American and, I go to different countries and you see certain things, and I'm like, "Okay, we do have privilege in some way,"
Mhm.
and I'm very grateful, but I can't stand by what's happening, and I just can't, and I can't stay quiet because also if I stay silent, like, that's me adding to the problem and not to the solution, and it's tough. It's really tough.
There is something called the spiral of silence that happens when all of a
Mhm.
sudden people think that their opinions are not shared because the people who share their opinions are no longer speaking up. So
Mm.
I realize it
Yeah.
comes at some personal price. So thank you. Are there times when you're Chiquis and times when you're Jenni?
Yes. I just the past 3 weeks, I was Janae.
Mm.
I was just living my life in Egypt and in Paris, and I was just hair messed up, just being myself. I am stepping into my Janae right now. I wanna show the world more Janae. I've been Cheekies for the past 10 years, and it was very survival mode. Now I wanna live. I really want to show and live and really show that other side of me.
What do you see as the distinction?
I feel like Chiquis, it's more, glam and glitz and, the desmadre,
Mhm.
and I like that. I like to have fun. I like to twerk. I like to drink. I like that crazy side of myself too, but I
Mhm.
did that for so long, I'm tired. I I wanna just be Janae, which is I'm
Mm.
not saying that I don't do those things, but I'm definitely more of a hippie. I'm very just more chill. Um I don't know. I was able to explain this so good the other day, and I can't remember right now, but I think the people that know Janae can explain it, I think, better.
I wonder, I mean, obviously you write a book like The Girl Who Sings to Bees. It's for children to enjoy with their
Yeah.
parents. I do think the fact that you're touching on grief and loss is really beautiful because there aren't actually a lot of books for
Yeah.
kids that deal with
Mhm.
tough stuff like this.
And I thought, I'm like, "Is it too heavy?" But I'm like, "This is my truth, and this is real," and it also helps children that have their parents appreciate their parents, I hope. So, no, sorry.
No,
You
listen,
know?
I hope so too. Um, My girls loved it. So you
Oh, that makes
I
me
think you
happy.
hit the right note. The illustrations are beautiful. I wonder, I mean, this is like an act of service to give to write and share a book like this, but I wonder what
Mhm.
this book gave you.
Yeah, it for sure has helped me again with my mom's healing the relationship with my mom. I'm gonna be able to go to classrooms and read to children, and hopefully, even if they don't know who I am, because they probably won't know who I am, I
Oh,
love that.
they think when we say Selena that we mean Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Like they we're
Exactly.
living in a different
So
time.
different.
Yeah.
It's so different. So I'm like, I love that, the excitement of being able to go and they don't really know. They're just gonna hopefully like me for Janae
Mhm.
and not necessarily think about Chiquis. But I love that. And to know that I'm doing in a way God's work, where it's like it's starting with the kids. The most important, as I'm sure you know, of the most important years of a child's life, or some of the most important are they're this first 7 years. So it's like to be able to plant a seed like this about overcoming self-doubt and loss and bullying, and hopefully if there is a little bully in that classroom, be like, hey, that's not nice, and if I'm able to do that, oh my gosh, that to me, I'm like, okay, it's gonna help me even with that little void that I feel with, like, okay, am I gonna have kids or not, or what's going on, it's gonna help fill that for sure.
Thank you so much,
Such
Chiquis.
a it's such a good interview. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for your time.
You're
Thanks.
awesome.